Hello, my name is Anjani. Here is your astrology chart. So, the way that we work with this chart is imagining that this is Earth. Here is you from the Earth's perspective, so that little X there being you, the moment you were born, and then Earth here, and then all of these, the planets and angles and nodes and things that I use in readings. So we superimpose this above you and imagine that this is a map of the sky the moment you were born. Well, it is a map of the sky the moment you were born. And each of these has a different archetypal energy that we can tune into and sort of get an idea about. I like to call this a soul blueprint or the soul's fingerprint. We can use it in a lot of ways, and I just made a little brief video for you to watch so you get I think I've done that video many times, but it's new for you today. Just a breakdown of what we're doing here with this chart. So the first thing we're going to do is first call in sacred space. So whatever that means to you. I always like to bring some water, light a candle, burn some incense, whatever you do to make the space and time carved out for us to have an experience where you're able to receive the information and make it a special time for yourself. So calling in sacred space, I always like to call in the energy of the planets, the archetypal energy of the all of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. Also honoring the ways and the people who have kept track of time through the standing stone sites, all of the clay tablets and the way that they built things so that we can keep track of the movement in the sky. Also like to call in my higher self to bring in this reading in a way that is clear and useful for you, calling in your higher self so that there's this communication happening so that the most beneficial things for you in your life right now can come through, be heard and accepted, received in ways that are uplifting and helpful in whatever way that might be for you right now. So the first thing we're going to look at is your lineage. The lineage is something that you've already mastered, something that you are born naturally being amazing at. If you've had kids, you will know that each of the children sort of, when they bring out their personality, has a certain personality type that we can't quite explain why it's like that. This is also something that we can become addicted to. So we can look for addictions, patterned habits. Sometimes I bring in the word karma, things that we just are on repeat that we can't seem to get out of. We look at this. The moon, which is the lineage, you have Aries moon. And then we look at this node, the south node, in the house position it's in. So we will call this the Aries tribe. So you have your moon in Aries. So this is basically, for men, this is actually known as the most favorable position. That's in normal Western astrology because they have things that are like good and bad. As a culture, we've generally wanted our little boys to have an Aries moon, to come with that warrior vibe, to be, tough and mean. And not saying you're mean, but the Aries moon has a very direct approach. My best friend has an Aries moon, and he's a guy. It's very like motorcycles, go fast. You actually, yeah. So Aries moon is known as the warrior. The movie that I like to talk about for Aries moon is Troy and the warrior in Troy. He's just like super, super badass. So Aries moon, this is the lineage. This is something like when you were a little kid, you might have been attracted to fire trucks and cops and the protectors of the tribe. Aries moon is the protector of the tribe. So with that moon position, the south node gives us a clue about a specialty that you have within that warrior tribe. And yours is the Libra job because your node is in the seventh house, which is the energy of Libra, which basically means that you're within this group of protectors, fierce warriors. Your specialty would be the one who is mediating in the tribe. So the Libra job within the Aries tribe wants to have peace, harmony. It cares about everybody's opinion. Aries on its own is just direct and straight to the point and fierce. And I use the word mean because it's like, it is like that. It can be perceived as being mean because it doesn't really care about other people. But for you, with your south node where it is, says that you are fierce and force filled because you do care, and it is like caring for the community, caring for. So if you imagine that this is your dinner table at home, say Thanksgiving or some holiday where a lot of people are gathered, more than just your immediate family, and there is for you there would be a concern that everybody is being heard, and that your fierceness would come out to protect people because you cared about the whole mandala or the whole pattern, not just pieces of it. So some other signs would be fierce for just their family or just for their lover, but for you it's sort of like for the whole tribe and whatever that tribe might be. As a little kid, it's the family, but as you get into a soccer team or baseball team or something like that in your youth, it would be for, it just gets bigger and bigger, that you're fierce, but for some reason, that you're protecting and caring about other people. That's the lineage. And one more thing is that the north and south node really give us clues about addictions and habits. The south node, what I'm talking about now, your Libra job, caring about everybody, is something that you might find that you do often, that you care about that, and it's like a first nature as opposed to second nature. It's like your first nature, like the first thing you want to do. And then the north node is over here at the opposite end in the first house, which is more all about yourself. So there's this spectrum or polarity between caring about others and caring more about yourself. And so what we're going to talk about now is your new school, and the new school is what you're going toward, and what you're going toward is doing things more for yourself, being more independent and having more of that fierceness, but for your own self. And using that word self because your rising sign is in Scorpio, which is a self-interest sign. I love Scorpio, and it's one of my one of the bigger topics that I cover because it has been very, very misunderstood, and we've been misguided in working with everything that has to do with Scorpio. So what you're here to learn about, according to the astrology chart, is the Aries job in the Scorpio tribe. So your north node over here in the first house, right next to your rising sign. So this is the bigger piece of information that you're here to really learn about. This is like wherever the north node is, there's an extra emphasis on that material. And just because it is so close to your rising sign, it's like really telling me like this is really important, and it's not easy. It's not easy because The Aries job in the Scorpio tribe is super intense, super sharp, fiery, snappy, a little dangerous, a little edgy, and all of those things might seem out of reach or uncomfortable or something you don't want to go into. A lot of times, the rising sign material is something that we will really, really avoid because, and also dislike it in other people because it's what we're here to learn about. So with Scorpio rising, the learning edge is learning how to walk the edge. I like to talk about this like growth edge or a learning edge. It's like if a baby was learning how to walk, falling down would be part of his growth edge. For somebody with Scorpio rising and the North Node right there, part of the growth edge would be, I mean, I'm seeing like literally Troy, like chopping heads off. Like the growth edge would be so much intensity and passion and power, like life force energy surging through the body, super strong emotions, learning how to be able to get into that intense energy of Scorpio and not let it, take over your life and have you doing crazy things, because learning Scorpio as a rising is different than having Scorpio as a moon position. Say if you had Scorpio as a moon, it would be something that you were already good at, and mastering energy is one of the hardest things we can do in a human body. So, and I'm not just saying that from my experience, it's like that's the whole reason that yoga even exists, because mastering energy in the body is not easy, but it's something that we have to do because we are like a power plant. And people with with a Scorpio rising and the North Node together, it's like extra. So extra just because of the fact that you're here specifically to learn about running large amounts of energy through your body. You're going to be the expert. You're like learning, you're in the school, like PhD program for running large amounts of energy through your body, being fierce, and being like the warrior. Aries job, Scorpio tribe. So I made a whole video about Scorpio rising, so maybe I won't go too much into it now because I'm already talking more than usual and using up a lot of time. One thing I will say here is that the thing that's coming up is that the polarity. So things that will happen often, you're learning how to use energy. So on this side, you have being of energy vampire, draining energy. So energy vampire means that you're tapping into people. I'm not saying you are, that you could be tapping into people, places, or things to draw energy in, or that could be happening to you because of the fact that you are learning how to master energy. People around you notice that, and you could become the one who is tapped, that people will go towards you because of the energy. And while you're learning, you were born in 75, so you're a little older than me, just a little. And I'm just imagining that at this point in your life you've realized that you're like, wow, that I think is the first thing that people will notice when they have Scorpio rising, is that other people are draining them. And you're like, why do I keep attracting these people who want to just suck me of energy? And like, there can be a dramatic things happen when people have Scorpio rising because of learning how to master energy. It's like intense emotional things will happen because that's what school you're in. So at this point in your life, you may have noticed like, oh, wow, this keeps happening to me. And what we want to do is like, okay, here's the polarity of like, either I am, now the word is boundaries. The word coming up is boundaries. So learning how, okay, I'm going this direction. Now I want to say go this direction, where you learn how to source energy from the above, from the sky, from the clouds and trees, and run that through your spine in this direction where you're able to pull energy in to your spine from the above and from the below. So we want to gather energy from the sky and from the earth, and not so much in this direction, like grabbing people or having people grab you. So you're pulling your energy in so that you are full of energy. And there's this, a whole bunch of things you can do to create not create a field around you in that sense of like, I need a bubble, nothing like that. What I'm saying is that you're so full of your own life force energy that other things can't plug into you, and you don't have a desire to plug into other things because you're satisfied with the amount of energy you're running through your body. So that's where I'll stop on that, what you're here to learn about. Aries job, Scorpio tribe. One more thing about that. So Scorpio tribe is the shamans, the mystics, the tantrikas. Actually, Scorpio is everything about tantra is learning how to master energy, how to work with subtle energy, ways to move it, ways to work with it. So that's the tribe that you're. So if you were signing up for school, you'd be like, I'm signing up for the magicians and the sorceress, and that's just being kind of funny, I guess. But intense amounts of energy running through my body, and the things that I'm thinking of have to do with super powerful people, not necessarily, but not limited to either way, not necessarily powerful in the sense of, like being the president, but powerful in the sense that you know how to work with the unseen energy. The elephant in the room is totally visible to you, and you're able to talk about it, and you're able to work with that elephant in the room energy. And then the Aries job within that Scorpio tribe is to be fierce, be protective, and have a cause that's worthy of your time and energy that you are fully devoted to. So then I'll stop there. That's the new school, the material that you're here to learn about. Some people call this life purpose. Some people call it destiny. The next thing we're going to look at is your inner feminine, inner masculine, and the relationship material. So this is known as the relationship axis. Over here is who am I, and over here is who are you. And when I was reading this before I started talking on the video, that you have this amazing polarity because of the position of this nodal axis. And then Mars, which is the way that you're embodying the God, the way that you express your masculinity. What Carl Jung said was, know your sword, what he said. To know your sword and how to carry it, something like that. That's what Mars describes for a man. The way that you embody the God, your masculine energy. They're in direct polarity to each other. So this is very interesting. Over here, who am I? This is where we investigate, who am I? What am I here to learn about? What am I here to do? And then over here is who are you? So who are you means that if this is you and this is your partner, you're looking at each other across the table. This relationship axis wants to know, this is the path of Tantra. So each of the axes has a different set of instructions, things that it wants to learn or experience in relationships. For you, it's all about pleasure and energy. So with your partner, you would it's like, you're not the one who's going to marry your best friend. It's not like, well, we like each other so much that we're just best friends and so we're going to get married. No, this is like, you turn me on. I can't wait to see you. I feel energized when I'm around you. And also, this isn't necessarily one of the pair bonders. So I have the same relationship axis, and I have to always remind myself, because you and I are born in the same, just, right around the same time. And in our generation, it's the only way to do relationships was to to get married, pair bond, be together, be with one person. And that's never quite been right for me. And in getting this material, it's been super helpful to be like, oh, well, I don't have to. And actually, this relationship axis is one of there's another one, there's three of them that don't necessarily, it's like it's a toss up, it doesn't have to get married, I'm talking about. The whole purpose of this relationship axis is to experience the bliss, pleasure, maximum intensity of connecting with another human being. Deeply intimate, meaning that naked in every sense of the word, completely being open and vulnerable. And you can be like that with somebody, and it doesn't have to be the same person that you stay with forever and ever. And we can get deeper into this by looking at Venus and Mars to find out what it is that you're more interested in relationships. So relationship axis, this is known as the path of Tantra. Wanting to experience maximum intimacy and maximum life force energy. What I was getting at with the polarity of the South and North nodes being here and Mars being here was that that your relationship axis is directly related to your destiny, or where you're going in life. Over here, this is where you're going, and I'm just talking about astrologically, going into learning all of these things, which we just got done talking about, Aries job in the Scorpio tribe, going into that, and then this is where you've been. This is what you've already have mastered this side. But when we're looking at this as a relationship axis, what's coming up here is that your addictions, your karma, and karma to me just means pattern that is so deeply ingrained that we feel powerless to changing it. But we can. We always can. It's just that it's something that's so deep that we feel like we can't. That's karma to me. So when I'm saying karma, that's what I mean. That in relationships, your patterning, your conditioning, your programming would be triggered by intimacy, by the relationship with an intimate partner. So being aware of that, like so much stuff comes in, because it's like, well, that is the house that has to do with relationships is the seventh house. You have Mars and you have the South Node, which would say that you may get extra aggressive in relationships. The other word is you may be attracted to men, or it may be that you're attracted to that masculine energy of aggression, assertion, everything that goes this direction, projecting outward. Like the sign of Mars has that little arrow pointing out, which is like projecting. It's outward going energy. Aggressive, assertive are the two words that come up at the moment. That being in an intimate relationship might bring that out in you and give you an opportunity to work through your programming, to work through your habits, addictions, and all of that material might come up in the intimate relationships. So much I want to say about that, but I'm going to move on. So the next thing is, let's look at what is the sword that you carry. Now, that's by Mars. You have your Mars in the sign of Taurus. So your form of the masculine, we mix Mars with the rising sign to get a good look at the way that the masculine is emerging, the form of the God that is emerging from you as you. And this again is that same master of energy, the tantrika, the one who wants to receive pleasure, receive all the good, wonderful things in life, beauty, fine art, luxury. They like to receive. Taurus likes to receive. So when you mix your inner masculine, the Mars with the rising sign, again, that's Taurus, Scorpio. That's your inner masculine. So what I like to do is I took images of that material. Take make something that you can put those two together and really connect to your form of the masculine, which just by me saying this, you might be like, yeah, that's totally me. I really am into everything that has to do with Taurus and Scorpio. Um, what's coming up is like that's the form of the God who is super sensual, very into sexuality, very the word hungry is coming up, like hungry for connection, for skin on skin. You know what I mean? Like when when we have babies, that's something that they always say is to put the baby on your skin. There's like a bliss feeling that happens from skin on skin connection. So that's your inner masculine. Now, the next thing we'll look at is the form of the feminine that you're most desire to connect with. By that, we look at Venus, and you have Venus in the sign of Virgo. So what we do here is mix Venus with what's on the descendant for you. So you have over here, who am I? Over here is who are you? So we mix your Venus with Taurus. So now we have Virgo and Taurus. And when I keep saying mix, that's what I'm saying by this. It's like merging those two imageries together, doing alchemy to combine that energy of Virgo. She's the goddess who is, this is the priestess, the high priestess, the one who is tuned into the rhythms of earth. So many words are coming into my mind by now, but when you mix Virgo with Taurus and combine those together, it's a form of the goddess who is super earthy. Very, I'm not saying she has to be like wearing Birkenstocks or something like that, but maybe she is, because I'm also seeing like thick, like big earth goddess, you know, because Taurus is very bodied. And for somebody with Scorpio rising, your Mars is in Taurus also. So being attracted to women who are very bodied, meaning that in touch with their body. So she could be earthy, she could be wearing Birkenstocks, or she could just be very organized and down to earth, or connected with her plan of her day. I'm seeing the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet, like knowing when she's got to be somewhere and just kind of having it together on the paper material, and also having it together with her body care, self-care, looking pretty, because that's you actually. So what I'm trying to say here is that the things that you're attracted to in women, by this chart, it looks like Virgo combined with Taurus. This is you. It's your form of the feminine. That what happens often is that we'll project that out. Men will project that out onto women in their lives. So you may, if you hang out with your friends, female friends, or if you meet, oh, this is the good one. When you meet somebody you're attracted to, you'll see them through those lenses of, oh, well, something about priestess. Like she is so auspicious, or like connected to her sacred work, or maybe she is doing sacred work. I seeing now, like you could be seeing me through that lens of like, oh yeah, she's a priestess, she's doing sacred work, and having an attraction to that, because that is what your form of the feminine is. So those are like your glasses when you're looking at women, connecting with women. It's like seeing them in this way. So some of the things that might come up, say that you get into a relationship and you notice all of these things. Oh, well, she, you know, she's kind of down to earth, and she got her, what I call, has her shit together, kind of, you know, organized and pays attention to details, and, you know, she schedules her own appointments, and, you know, schedules her, got her paperwork done. I'm thinking of all these things that I'm so not any of that, because I'm not very connected to that Virgo detail orientation. But seeing all of those things, getting super into it, connected with it, and like, oh, this is great. And then some of the things that might come up in relating with women is very cool, cold, even, because Virgo, as your inner feminine, could it's kind of detached from emotions. It doesn't really go into the intensity. It doesn't fit that whole tantra thing, you know. It's very distant from intense emotionality. And some other things might be like stubborn, coming, you know, you get into it with somebody that you're all into and attracted to, and this is just the normal thing that happens when we are attracted to the projection of our own inner feminine, that eventually, you know, they say that the shadow things come out, and the things that you used to love about the person turn into be the things that you can't stand about the person. So some of those things would be being cool, super calm to the point of almost being cold, emotionally detached, stubborn, because now we're putting in some of the Taurus things, stubborn, eat too much, take too much because they like to receive. So taking more than their fair share in the relationship and without putting something back in. And this is another one, being manipulative, because they know they have a big picture of the whole timings of what's going to happen, of what, because of that detail orientation, cunning is the word that's coming in. So they can plan the way that they're going to, you know, I don't want to say hurt your feelings, but like they can plan the way that they're going to detach from you and the way that they're going to just be cold all of a sudden. So that's the inner feminine. The way that we work with this is by owning, first of all, the things that I said right now about Virgo and Taurus might not resonate with you. It might not, it's just a strange combination to put together. You will probably need to do that. I have a worksheet that I can send you that is an integration process to join your inner feminine and inner masculine together. But when you do that, combine those two within yourself, the idea is that you're able to see that what you're attracted to in women is actually you. So you start to feed those archetypes from the inside, doing those things that that energy is calling for, so that you own it yourself. And that's called a sacred marriage. So the next thing we're going to go into is your midheaven. The midheaven is the way that you contribute, your contribution to the world, aka career. And you have on the midheaven the sun, you have Mercury, and the midheaven's over here. So midheaven in Leo says that whatever you do for a contribution to the world